As I said, the assignment 1 is team effort, okay? Both assignments are team effort, all right? Minimum 2 person, maximum 3. Same tutorial class, all right? Now, if you have to change to other tutorial class, you need to consult the other tutorial class lecturer and tutor as well as your current tutor, all right? So that you can get it swapped over and then it's easier for you to match up with your teammate together, all right? Okay, those are the things that I need to remind you, all right? And I think we are about 6:05. Then we start today's lecture proper. Today essentially is lecture number 2. Then we'll be talking about how to improve a business process and what kind of program, and then that will related to the method or approach that you can take to improve a business process. And at the same time, we will look into the business process BPR is a business process re-engineering. Okay, business process re-engineering. And let's look at the thing and the objective of doing that. All right. Okay. And that is today's one. Okay, process improvement and BPR. All right. And the learning objective, essentially 4 learning objectives that we are going to achieve. Okay, hopefully that we achieve that by the end of this lecture. All right. First of all, we'd like you to be able to discuss what is process management and how is a process-oriented organization view the process management. All right. And then you need to understand what is the purpose of this process management or process improvement program. Okay, there are certain purpose. Okay, and to reduce costs and improve the variations of your product services variation. All right, and define the various product improvement approach. And a typical approach is being practiced even up to today is Six Sigma. Okay, even though the Six Sigma approach or the kind of tool have been started some about almost 20 over years ago, but still continue to be in practice. And later on, we are going to look at why there's a need to re-engineering the business process. Okay, the reason for that. Okay, we are going to look at that. All right. So that essentially are the 4 main learning objectives that we are going to achieve. And hopefully by end of this lecture, after your interaction, if there is any, then we are able to achieve the kind of learning outcome. All right. So first of all, okay, let me blow it up first. Okay. Process management. Okay, what is process management? Essentially, is a principle of managing, controlling, and improving the processes. Okay, now what is actually a process? A process is basically a workflow oriented. Now, how the job or activities flow through in an organization. All right, in an organization. So what is actually main elements are involved within the process that you want to manage, okay? Basically, you have this, what do you call it? Yeah, sit down. You look at the process design. And then when you look at the process design, this is one of the elements that are involved. You look at a continuous or incremental improvement. Okay, improvement can be incremental. I mean, you improve and then stop it again, then improve again, then come back. Or you can take a form of keep on improving. Okay, usually continuous improvement is something that is not easily achieved. Okay, just like you learn something, then you have to reflect what you have learned. Then after that, then you start to think about what is the next learning objective. All right, so continuous process improvement, in principle, is feasible, but in reality, is a kind of a bit difficult. Nevertheless, you still can try to do that, Okay, and a lot of organizations keep on doing that and create a lot of people change management as well as stress, employee turnover, all that kind of thing. But somehow, because of the requirement by the external environment, continuous improvement in principle should be practiced. Okay, should be practiced. As I said, there is some problem in continuous improvement. Okay, there are problems, but however, not that if there are problems, then you don't do it. Okay, you still do it and see whether there is any room of improvement that have been observed. And at the same time, then you think about that, what will be the next improvement, next improvement, next improvement, next improvement, all this. Okay, now to do that, then you need a control system. Okay, that's why the element of control system comes in here. Okay, now in the process of improving this business process, any business process involves people. So there is a people management involved. So you have a people management element inside there. And when you come to people, then you want to improve the process, you basically have to cope with a process change, some process change. So the issue of the change management comes in. All right. So the issue of change management is one of the elements also. Okay. Essentially, the process control comes from the quality management. And it is a fundamental concept of quality management, process control. Anything, if you control it, then you can achieve some quality outcome or quality increment or improvement, okay? And the whole thing, this process management, essentially it starts off with equally, historically, focusing on manufacturing process. Now, what we do in this, later on we talk about Six Sigma. Six Sigma essentially is started off in a manufacturing process, all right? And I started off with Motorola, all this, and then you look at that. And then, of course, when you talk about manufacturing process, it's also equally valuable in terms of services. But in today, the manufacturing process is actually a form of a service process, okay? Manufacturing some goods in support the subsequent sub-processes. So it provides a service to that. So manufacturing process is essentially, in today's context, is talking about another form of service management. All right. But there, of course, what is the power of adopting the process view? There are certain strengths and there are certain weaknesses. So we look at the weaknesses first within the functional organization. Within the functional organization, we are talking about division of labor, which is in the economics term of a division of labor paradigm, all right? Division of labor, functional organization. Now, what it is the weakness? The weakness is because you focus on skills and resources utilization rather than the work output. Okay? So you look at the process view, you focus on the skill and the resources utilization within the process, rather than the output of the process, all right? And therefore, in that sense, that your reward system tailored for the functional unit, not for the overall company's objective. Because if you look at a function, all right, functional department or functional entity, then your reward system be basically tailored to the functional unit, not the overall organization's perspective. Because organization consists of more than one function. All right, because you are focusing on one function, you tend to overlook the overall things. All right, so that is one of the weakness. And at the same time, because you are focusing on the functional aspect, so you focus on a group behavior and a culture on basically are we ourselves, not them, ourselves. Okay, focusing on that. Okay, and you have a decentralized firm within the firm, okay, within the firm. And with that, this set the agendas of a decentralization. And this essentially that centralization and decentralization. Centralization has a certain advantage and disadvantage. Decentralization also having the strength and weaknesses. Okay, if you over decentralize, it means you leave it to individual unit to do works. The individual will tend to focus and protect the individual unit's interest, okay? And that will overlook the overall objective, okay? And that is the, what they call it, the weakness of this kind of process view, looking at focusing on the functional unit. Then of course, if you have a weakness, there's also at the same time there are some strength, okay? What are the strengths of this kind of process view? A strength of a process view, create focus of work output. That will reduce the strength, okay? If you focus on work output, as we say that you focus on the skill of an individual, all right? If you focus on the work output, then you reduce the risk for sub-optimization, all right? Because you look at the big picture output, big picture of this, and that leads to certain transparency of how contributions of individual workers fit into the big picture, all right? And that encourages involvement and empowerment. Now, when you talk about empowerment, that means that you dedicate your decision-making authority to the people who's doing the job, empower. Like I empower you, that means that I let you to make the decision, make the choice that what you want to do, okay? And that is one of today's management. And a lot of time that empowerment is a very powerful tool and create a lot of job satisfaction and less turnover of staff. And therefore, in that sense, you break down the barriers between the department, all right? If you look at it from a process view, okay? And there is an advantage of adopting that, and a strength of a process view, and create a sense of a loyalty towards the process to balance the loyalty within the functional unit, all right? So let's take a look at one of the example, okay? And then I see that, okay, if a customer comes in, okay, customer place an order, all right, place an order to the company, okay? Then you go to what? Immediately you go to the order processing unit, okay, to do the processing. And then the order processing unit, processing, they check with a certain inventory, check with the stock, and discover that if customer's order cannot be fulfilled, you need to manufacture it, or you need to place an order for some of the missing part or whatever. So you go to the purchasing department, okay, to do the purchase of a missing raw material or whatever stuff, okay. And then if you do the purchasing, go to the purchasing entity, you need to liaise with the supplier of the raw materials or sub-assembly or whatever that you need to manufacture to satisfy the customer's order, all right? So if you can't satisfy a customer order, you need to start a production line, you need to get into this, go to here, and at the same time, you need to get the output, purchasing output come in here to go to the manufacturing unit, okay, your production unit. And the production unit will produce whatever required quantity that the customer, to satisfy a customer orders, okay. So you go into satisfy order, after satisfy order, you manufacture a product. After you manufacture a product, you have to deliver to the customer, okay. To deliver to a customer, you have to go to the shipping department to do that. And that whole thing, you get back to this, and then I go to the product acceptance or this. You deliver to the customer will look at it, this is what we order, and this is what we want, and then, okay, we accept it. Once you accept it, then you can do the bill the invoice to the customer, all right? So that is a kind of a whole process view in that sense, all right? So you start off with order placing, okay? Order placing by the customer, order placing, okay? And then you go into these sub-processes, okay? Administrative process, order, place an order, and then go into the order processing department, and then you go into the purchasing department if you don't have a stock or whatever. Depends on what customer order. Customer may order certain system, and if you don't have that system, you go to the purchasing department, go and buy from your supplier the vendor, and then after that you deliver, this check, test, everything okay, deliver. If customer is asking for that, you need further assembly, okay, then you go into the production department and then do the what do you call it, production part, assembly the part or sub-assembly put together, okay. And then once you complete that, you go into the checking, testing, and then go into the shipping department, and then go back to that. So this is whole thing is as a process view, okay, very typical, all right. Nothing so wonderful, nothing so special, all right. And you can visualize this very, very what do you call it, in a very common sense, common cases that you would encounter, because when you want to buy a computer, okay, you want to buy a laptop, sometimes the laptop is not ready assembled. They just say, okay, you want to place a laptop, what configuration and what requirement, after that they go and put it together, and then they configure it to the requirement. Okay, so this is typical, okay, very typical, nothing big deal, all right. And this is an example of a business process that I was talking about just now. So process management, then you look at the process management. Now remember, you go to the supplier to ask for part, and you go back to the customer. The whole thing is known as a supply chain. Okay, the whole thing is a logistic supply chain. All right. So process management, how you deal with, is concerned about the supply chain. All right. So what are they? Okay, supply chain. Okay. So you have a supply chain that you look at the processes to integrate the flow of material, okay? Because if from a supplier of raw material, go to the production unit, and then go to your customer, eventually become a final product and go to the customer. So the whole thing is known as a supply chain, all right? So within the supply chain, then you have a key supply chain processes, okay? What are the key supply chain processes? You look at a customer relationship management, okay? You want to manage a relationship with your customer. You also want to do the customer service management, okay? You provide a service management. You also want to, what do you call that, manage your demand. Okay, so you have a demand management process. Of course, you also have a supplier management, all right? Your vendor management, all right? So what you look at is also customer relationship management, customer service management, and demand management process. Now, in the customer service management process, okay, let's first start off with the customer relationship management process. You try to meet the customer needs, the royalty, the maximize the profit. Your objective is to maximize your profit. Any business organization, the ultimate goal is make as much money as possible from each customer. And sometimes in an accounting term, it's a customer proximization, okay. And what you do is you look at that, okay, so you build a customer service management process. And inside the customer service management process, you basically look at the 7R. What are the 7R? Are you having the right product? Do you have the right quantity? Do you have the right condition of the product? Do you have the right place where your product is stored? And do you have the right time to deliver to the customer? And do you have the right type of customer as well as the right type of cost, right cost? And that is the 7R within the customer services management program, okay? You look at the 7R, okay? Right product, right quantity, right condition, right place of manufacturing, or right place of deliver to the customer, deliver to the customer's location, right time, when you're supposed to deliver, okay? And deliver at the right time and to the right customer. Sometimes it can send in the wrong customer. And every now and then, sometimes I receive email from some sources that I don't even know, okay? That is not the right customer, okay? And the right cost. What will be the best cost? Okay, the best cost so that you can maximize your profit. All right. So all these are tied in together, and then these are the key management process. And then of course you want to manage the demand. So you have a demand management process. So you balance the customer demand with the company's capacity capacity. What is the capacity? Capacity of capacity planning, forecasting, and replenishment. I mean, we are planning for what kind of machinery requirement, what time, what resources, all this planning, all right? And then you forecast, okay? Now, to plan for something, you forecast what will be the customer's requirement. And after that, then you look at whether there is sufficient stock level or whatever. Then you do the replenishment, which is the inventory management, inventory control management, all right? So within this, what they call it, the supply chain management processes, okay? Then you also look at the order fulfillment process. Now, order fulfillment is similar to just now we said that how to process a customer's order processing, all right? And you also look at the flow management process. Flow management is basically material flow within the organization, all right? Material flows, okay? So the design of the manufacturing and service processes to achieve the desired flexibility and meet the customer need, all right? And then you have a supplier relationship management as what we have said, okay, there, all right? Now, we said that customer relationship just now, and I also mentioned about the supplier relationship management, and this is where the supplier relationship management process is about. So you want to manage who are your key supplier. And normally you have a list of a supplier. You don't want to lock in one particular supplier, because when you lock into one supplier, the supplier will hold you as ransom. Okay, if I know that you are going to buy from me, I will call the price. Okay, I will say that, okay, I'm going to charge you this amount for that item, and you got no other choice. All right, you got no other. So never lock in one particular vendor or customer. Now, you will lock it into one particular customer. If that customer went bust, the business gone, you lose all the market, okay? You don't have a revenue. If you don't have a revenue, don't talk about the profit, okay? No revenue, no matter how low the cost is, zero cost also no use, because zero revenue and zero cost, it will give you zero profit, right? So what you want is the objective of increasing the revenue at the same time, reduce the cost. Okay, and that later on we will talk about that, all right? But bear in mind that when you reduce the cost so much, you are going to penalize your revenue. That's why I mentioned in the last week lecture that when a new CEO comes in, he starts to cut until so thin that a lot of services cannot fulfill, customer run away, or this, then you lose revenue, all right? So cut costs up to certain limit, no further cut. If further cut, it will penalize your revenue income. Okay, so bear in mind that a lot of people say, oh, the way to increase profit, cut costs. No, cut costs without jeopardizing the revenue is okay, but often than not, when you cut costs to a certain limit, you are going to jeopardize your revenue. When you jeopardize the revenue, you cost lower, revenue low. And if the revenue lower is larger than the cost lower, basically you lose a profit. Okay? So bear in mind on that. All right? So there's another key supply chain process that is about product development. If you are going to develop a new product, you've got to think about whether a new product can be commercialized quickly or not. So therefore, it's important to develop your product in a short product life cycle, okay? Product development life cycle, in the sense that you can develop the product quick enough to meet the market need. You can develop the best product, but it takes so long to do it. In the end, the business has already gone to someone else already. All right? So bear in mind that, okay, product development life cycle and commercialization process have to be matching, okay, matched to each other. And sometimes you use a strategy that what we call it the concurrent engineering. If you want to develop this product with a certain sub-assembly or this, can the sub-assembly also be used on another product? So you have to consider that. If the sub-assembly can be used in other product as well, then that is a concurrent engineering. Then you develop that sub-assembly so that you can meet this product requirement as well as that product requirement. and that you have an advantage of being a fast product development life cycle. And that's very important because today we are talking about speed. Speed is very important. Speed to the market. The first to the market is the one who first to grab the profit. Okay, speed to the market. Okay, that means that you push out your product quick enough to the market, and then you grab hold of the market share. All right. And return management now. This return management is not return on investment management. It's a return on management in terms of quality. That means that you send your product to the customer, and how many of the product that you send out is being returned to you because of poor quality or because of damage in the transportation process or some process. So you want to manage better that return. Okay, manage return by minimizing the return back to you when the product send it out. Okay, so what you have to do is to make sure that your delivery process is very robust and high quality enough that product will not easily damage. So your packaging comes in. Okay, like there are certain packaging, you know, like in a lot of countries that you use this what they call that e-commerce is selling packaging things. Okay, you send something to your friends or whoever, and then the packaging company, the Kuaidi, you know, the Kuaidi, okay, they package it. Okay, the Kuaidi means the company who do the packaging, and then after that there's logistics supply, they send it out. If you don't package it nicely, your product go there can be damaged. Okay, if your product damaged, it has to be returned to you, and then you are losing money. All right. And this is what we say that just now we said that return management is reverse supply chain management, improve product, reduce or eliminate returns. Okay, it means that you try to reduce the number of items you send it out is being returned to you because of some damage or something else. Okay. So the principle of successful process management, basically you can divide it into 3 phases, all right? What are the 3 phases? Okay, phase 1 is look at the initialization, okay? Initialization means assign product ownership and analyze the boundary and the interface, all right? Go into the second stage. Now, second stage is the definition. Definition of what? Define which process you are going to take, okay? Your process, you may take this process, order processing process, or take a purchasing process, or whichever process you have to take. Depend on this initialization. Assign the process ownership, analyze the boundary and interface. Then you go to the define of the process. Okay, and after you define the process, then you want to establish a control point. And in order to establish a control point, you need to measure, development and implement and measure. Okay, what is the thing that you want to you have to measure before you can actually control it? Okay, you want to control something, you must say control what? Control the measure of a certain output or measure of certain variables. All right, so that's why established control will lead you to develop the measure. Okay, develop and implement the measure. Okay. After you develop and implement the measure, then you get the performance evaluation. Okay, you measure something, you design for something to get this certain amount or quantity or certain metric, the value, and you measure it, you don't get the kind of value. Suppose you design, say, my quality is 100%. Okay, you say that you're 100%, but you actually measure it, what's happening is 90%. So there is a gap in between. And this gap provides you the feedback. And when you see the gap, when you have a feedback, what do? You improvise another control. You have to say, okay, I don't get 100% quality. Why? Because I haven't controlled my material properly, raw material properly. I never control my packaging properly. Therefore, the return management is bad. So you will have a measure, and then measure against what? Against the benchmark. That's why people talk about benchmark. Okay, when you say that you want to measure, okay, measure, okay, measure against what? Against the benchmark. Okay, just take for another example. Okay, exam result. okay? You say, oh, I got 95 marks, okay? Is it best mark? You benchmark with the other people. A lot of people just average 70, 72, 73, or this. Of course, a 95 is good, all right? But if you get 80 marks and then the other people all get 85, 82, 83, or this, then your result is not as good as the other you benchmark with. So when you want to control feedback, performance feedback, evaluation, you must have a benchmark here so that you can exercise control here, all right? Always have something to compare with, okay? But on the other hand, too much comparison may not be good. A lot of parents always compare the children's examination result or high school result with the other families' children. Or this, in the end, create a lot of stress for the children. Too much comparison is no good. Anything excessive is no good. All right. From my point of view, anything excessive is no good. Moderate control. Make sure you can achieve what you think you are capable of achieving. It's no point overstretching yourself, okay? There are some students, we have some good PhD students. They come in first year, they want to have a A-star paper, A-star journal paper. In the end, the A-star paper they submit in, all rejected. But you are over-expecting. Set your limit too high. Everything must set within achievable limit. Okay. Of course, then you say, I set very low, of course I achieve what, did it? But then there's no longer a challenge. Okay. If you set too low, the limit is not very challenging, right? So set the limit is feasible, achievable, and with sufficient challenge. Okay, with sufficient challenge. All right. So phase one initialization, just now we have already said that, okay? So he give you this kind of thing, all right? And then you go to phase two, it's definition, all right? Where's my phase? Initialization, you look at okay, supplier, okay? You look at supplier push in input from your producer process, and the producer output, and the output go into the customer, and the customer give the customer requirement feedback to the producer, and the producer also give the feedback, producer's requirement into the supplier, and this part is called an input interface. That part is called an output interface, all right? Go there, all right? Output interface, all right? So phase two, the process management, which is definition, all right? Define the process. Define what kind of process you need to use, all right? For the supply chain process management, okay? And the workflow documentation baseline for process evaluation is defined, okay? You define it, then you do subsequently the next phase, okay? The next phase will give you establish a control point and then develop and implement a measure, okay, what kind of measure that you are using, okay. And after that, you do the performance, which is what I just mentioned already. So this is basically a sort of capture of in a slide, okay, control, okay, phase three is control. So process improvement, the tools for process improvement, just now I mentioned about Six Sigma quality program, all right. So what is Six Sigma quality program? It's essentially a company-wide initiative. And it started out at Motorola, okay, Motorola. Unfortunately, Motorola has already basically disappeared in the scene, okay? You hardly see any Motorola's mobile phone now. Anybody still see the Motorola mobile phone? You hardly see it because the company is not doing well anymore, okay? It launched this Six Sigma in early day, okay? Now, then you might ask me the question, why they practice Six Sigma and in the end they are disappearing of the scene, okay? Look at some about 20 years ago, Ericsson. Look at the mobile phone, Nokia. Nokia is basically nobody uses Nokia. Yeah? Anybody has a Nokia phone, handphone? I hardly see anybody has it. But during my time, some about 15 years ago, the phone I have is, ask anybody, everybody said Nokia. Okay, Finland's manufacturers. Okay, okay. Most of people are using them. Maybe you talk to your dad or mom, they still have a very old type of this Nokia phone, very tiny one, little one. Okay, but today it's all very. And even they produce a 4G, try to produce a 4G, this what they call smartphone. They are not breaking through the market well enough. What happened? Because they cannot compete with the innovation created by Samsung, by Apple, and by Chinese mobile phone manufacturer Huawei, okay, or Oppo, okay, Oppo, you're right, or Vivo, but not so much of Vivo. Oppo is very familiar. You go to Safeway, there will be people selling Oppo to you, R10, R9. But in China, already R12. We are talking about R9 Plus here. What's happening? We are supposed to be a very well-established, developed country. Why our technology is so behind time? Because our infrastructure is not good enough. It's not fast enough. People are already talking about 4.5G, LTE, 4.5G, advanced, and even going to the 5G already. Okay? Within the next few years, you will see all 5G network, everything coming. And we are talking about this future opportunities network. All right. And in some countries, like in China, they have this what they call quantum computing and quantum communications, so that they have a satellite network linked together with a lot of network, and network is for the people on the move. Okay. On which move? On a high-speed train, on an aircraft, okay, high-speed train, okay. Anyway, this is what happened, all right, okay. The technology is moving so fast, okay. And I will be talking about some of the technology move as we move along in the subsequent lecture. So in this 1987, which is the history already, okay, Motorola has this Malcolm Bridge National Quality Award in 1988, okay? And what happened, okay, the ongoing success of 6 Sigma, and then it carried on with even Ford, GE, Amex, Honeywell, Nokia, okay? Look at that, Nokia is there, okay? Okay, Philips, Samsung, JP Morgan. Now, JP Morgan is a big company dealing with the financial, is a financial company, JP Morgan, okay? And then Maytag, and then DuPont. DuPont is a chemical company, very big one, US, okay? And because of Six Sigma, this, in this 1998, they have Six Sigma in GE, they have a saving of 350 million saving from a Six Sigma. And later on, it become 1 billion, okay? But today, is GE doing very well? To some extent, GE is doing well in some sense, but they have introduced a certain, this is what they call the innovation, okay? And that is what they introduced, a blockchain. Have you heard about blockchain? Anybody heard about blockchain? B-L-O-C-K. Have you heard about Bitcoin? Yes. Okay, Bitcoin is the typical application of blockchain, okay? It's a very specific application of blockchain. And the blockchain is going to be wiping out a lot of industry, especially banking industry. The bank is very nervous now, okay, a lot of bank. Because in a blockchain, you don't need a third party, okay? You don't need a third trusted party. So your transaction is very transparent, peer-to-peer transaction. I buy something from you, you pay me money, okay? I don't have to go to the bank to say that, okay, I send you a credit, and then the bank will say, that, okay, I process, I charge you 1% commission, and then I pay the money to that seller, okay? No such thing anymore, okay? And that is what's happening now, okay? And blockchain is going to sit on top of what? TCP/IP. Have you all heard about TCP/IP? Yeah, I'm sure that all of you heard about TCP/IP, right? And that is an application layer onward. The apps onward, okay, the blockchain is coming in there. And the blockchain is going to apply even to any industry, including the healthcare industry, okay? Because healthcare industry, that a lot of this personal particular information are very privacy, okay? And the blockchain is transparent within the thing, okay? So if you ask me what should you focus in the future, I say that if you start focusing on blockchain, you have a good opportunity, employment opportunity, because a lot of industry will get into that, okay? Blockchain. Am I right? You knocked at the head, right? So that's a good opportunity, okay? I'm here to tell you something that I know, okay? I don't tell you things I don't know. I don't pretend that I know everything, all right? Bear in mind that, all right? So Six Sigma improvement program, all this. Honestly, I don't quite like this Six Sigma thing, but it's still in practice, okay? Now, why is a Six Sigma? It's essentially a concept, okay? We will define what is Six Sigma, okay? Okay, a broad definition of a Six Sigma program is what is said, a company-wide strategic initiative for process improvement in both manufacturing and service organization with a clear objective of reducing costs. Now, remember just now I said that reducing costs, at the same time increase revenue. If you reduce the cost, no change in revenue, not too bad. If you increase the cost and the revenue drop because of cut costs too much, so you cut the revenue, then it's bad, okay? But here the Six Sigma is that the aim is to increase revenue at the same time reducing costs. That sounds very promising, very good, okay? But as you all know, you can't have everything you want without paying a price, right? In the real world, everything you have to pay a price, okay? The question is that what price you pay. How small the price you pay in return of big benefit. And that is what you are aiming for. So if you want to increase the revenue, at the same time reduce cost, make sure the amount of increase in revenue is very much more than the amount of what do you call it, cost cutting, all right? And we'll come to that. Profit is equal to revenue, take away the cost, all right? So Six Sigma, okay, you look at the standard deviation of this big data, okay? The distribution is basically normally distributed if it's a very big number of data, okay? Big data means what? Volume. Big volume means that imply that the distribution is relatively normally distributed, all right? So you have a normally distributed. However, in the real world, this central value, which is a mean value or target value, can move about, okay? And there is a variation, the deviation, whether shifted here or shifted there, okay? There is a possibility of happening there, okay? So we start off with a look at it, okay? Reduce the variation of every individual process to render no more than 3.4 defects per million opportunity. PMO, per million opportunity. In other words, you manufacture 1 million of product or pieces of product or pieces of goods or whatever. The very most you targeted is 3.4 pieces are defect. Okay. In other words, you do, no matter how you do 1 million times, you're aiming for 3.4 defects per million times opportunity. And that is really a small defect. And have you heard about zero defect situation? I'm sure that you have heard about zero defects, right? In the management process, they all say, in the Japanese, zero defects, okay? Zero defect. It means that you never ever happen in the real world, even in the Toyota manufacturing process. This is Six Sigma thing and a just-in-time manufacturing process. It comes from a Toyota, which is called lean manufacturing. L-E-A-N, lean. Lean manufacturing, very lean. And just like eat the fat. No? You eat the meat, the lean meat, okay? Very lean, very tiny one. Let me streamline all the fat. It cut all the fat away, okay? So you look at this one, this is a Six Sigma definition. In a broad term, it's like that, all right? So we move on, okay? Assuming the process output is normally distributed, as I said, you're manufacturing a lot of goods, then the process is normally distributed, all right, with a mean of mu and a standard deviation of sigma, okay. And you want to achieve the target value, this is 6 sigma, here, 6 sigma, that means 6 standard deviation from the target value, and 6 standard deviation from the target value in the upper specification limit, and this is a lower specification limit, all right. And that's what we want to aim for within that kind of situation. Now, what happened now? So in a more technical definition, okay, reduce the variation, okay, of every individual process to render no more than 3.4 defects per million opportunity. That's what we say, the Six Sigma situation. Okay, assuming the process output is normally distributed here. So now there is a variation of a mean, okay. There's a variation of mean which can be 1.56 sigma away from the targeted value, and it can be upper side or lower side, all right? And then what is left here is if it's a lower side 1.5 sigma away, then from here to here you have a 4.5 sigma, and the other thing is on the other side is also 4.5 sigma, and the whole thing becomes 6 sigma here, okay? To cope with the variation, and we try to limit the variation to become 1.5 from the target, all right? So 6 sigma is when the distance between the target value and the closest of the specification limit is at least 6 sigma. Okay, choose a strategy. Okay, which sigma you want to choose? Of course, you want to choose the most efficient one. Okay, so you look at that. Okay, what is the efficiency? Okay, you try to achieve the higher efficiency. That's what we say. We want the high efficiency and high effectiveness. And we talk about effective. What is effective? What is efficiency? Efficiency is output over input. Okay, for a given input, you can produce as much as the output, then it's called efficient. But for effectiveness, all your output you produce not necessarily meet your objective goal. Okay, so in order to meet your objective goal, then you are looking at the effectiveness. Okay, I can do so many things, but in the end, I don't achieve 100% high distinction. So are you effective learner? You may not be the effective learner. If I only spend 5 hours in preparing for my exam, I still get a high distinction. That can show you that your learning is effective one way. The other way, you may have spotted the question correctly in the exam, and then you got it right. But that kind of situation is hardly always happen. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it don't happen. Okay? So you are aiming for this 6 sigma, which means that you have 3.4 defects per million opportunity, and that gives you to 99.9997 efficiency. Okay, that's good, 6 sigma. So what does it mean? 6 sigma, does it guarantee you with the effectiveness? Not necessarily. Okay, it only achieves your efficiency. Okay, not necessarily effectiveness. Okay. So that has to bear in mind, and that explains the reason why a lot of companies, even in the past, like Motorola, they practice 6 sigma, all this, eventually they still disappear from the market. Why? They did not consider enough innovation. Okay, they did not actually practice a lot of disruptive information because the market disrupt their product. Okay, so what is important that you, whether you like it or not, in today's, as I mentioned to you last week, a lot of companies, they're looking for employee, not necessarily that they have a 10-year experience in the domain that they ask for. They're looking for people who has an innovative mind and can come in here to innovate and inject a lot of innovative idea. Okay, and that is what's important. All right. So you see, the 6 sigma, we always talk about efficiency. Okay. 6 sigma cost, okay, is basically efficiency rationale. Okay. So 6 sigma efficiency loop is here. Okay. First, improve the project. Okay, variations, and reduce costs. Okay, increase profit. Okay, and to do that, you have to have a certain commitment Okay, commitment here to reduce cost. And from a cost reduce, you want to increase the profit. So you have to produce a good yield, and you have to have a reduce of cycle time. What is the cycle time? Cycle time, it means the time you spend in the process, in your business process, whichever process you are involved. Okay, you spend as little time within the process as possible. Okay, reduce the cycle time. And that is what we call the Six Sigma efficiency loop. As I say, Six Sigma give you efficiency loop, not necessarily achieve your effectiveness loop. Because your effectiveness is a sort of goal, the strategic goal of your organization or of your functional department or whichever goal that you set for within the process. All right? So just now I said, okay, profit. Profit, bottom line, okay, we call it bottom line in a company, okay, it's given by revenue take away the cost. Decreasing cost will result in an increase of profit. If revenue no change, reduce this will increase the profit, okay. Six Sigma will focus on all type of costs, okay, including labor costs, okay. Now, labor cost reduction will be realized by increasing the productivity, not the layoff. And that gives me what I told you, that when a new CEO comes in, they start to cut the trend, return the people, or this cut a lot of labor costs. But that is not the effective way of doing things. What it should be interested in, instead of cutting retrench people, you should make the people increase the productivity. Okay, increase the productivity so that you increase, reduce the cost in that sense. All right, not through cutting the people. If you don't hire people, of course you don't have to pay money, right? But you maintain the same number of people and then improve the productivity, improve the output. Okay, and that is the way it goes. Okay.
Yeah, but sometimes if you do not lay off and you increase the productivity, it means there's more product. But sometimes in the market, there's not enough need to...
That's why you have to look at the thing. You have to look at the whole view rather than the thing. Okay? If there is not enough business, then you have to think about a way to create business. You don't have a market, you create a market. Go and create a market, okay? Instead of this, a good CEO will come in here, okay, we look at a company, take a stock view, take an overview or review of the whole organization. Okay, we have this amount of workforce. We need to generate that amount of revenue before that company is satisfying shareholders' requirement, profit margin or whatever. All right. Now, then you look at it, okay, I don't have enough revenue. So what happened? Go and create revenue. How to create revenue? Create a market. Come out with a new product. Come out with a new innovation. You go in. And that is what in Europe, there is such thing as a blue ocean strategy. Okay, you will swim in a big ocean, nobody is there, you occupy the whole ocean. But if you swim in a swimming pool and a lot of swimmers there, you only can occupy certain part of the swimming pool, right? You can't occupy the whole part of the swimming pool if there are not so many swimmers there. But if this swimmer go and swim in the big ocean, the big ocean is unlimited. Okay? And that's the way to do is to create a market. If you don't have a market, create a market. How to create a market? Come up with a disruptive product, disruptive services. All right? And this is where it's happening. Like Alibaba created this ePay, this QR code to create the market for their own this finance. Okay? And the bank was so worried that because they take away part of the bank's business. And the same thing, the blockchain and the Bitcoin is coming in to take away the role of a middleman, third party, trusted third party. All right, and that is an important point that I'm trying to say. Okay. Okay. So your Six Sigma approach is cost reduction, to cost reduction, oriented around the dimensions of variation, cycle time and yield. Okay, that I was talking about the cycle time, reduce the cycle time. Okay, so that you spend less cycle time. The variation, that means the variation from what? From the target value. Okay, what will be the variation? That means the difference between the actual and the target process, product, and service. And the objective is to reduce the variation and improve the quality and reduce cost. Okay, and that is what the concept of a Six Sigma. All right. So what are the type of variation? Variation could be two types. One is a random variation. Okay, the other one is non-random variation. So what are the difference between the two? Okay, random variation is the result of many different causes. Okay. Many different causes cause things to deviate from the target value. Your service, your products, quality, your delivery process, your manufacturing process, all this will cause variation from a standard expected target value. All right? And it is, random variation is inherent in the process and can only be affected by changing the process design. Okay, that means that it can only be overcome this random variation. You will have to redesign your process. Okay, because it is many other sources of these causes, different causes. All right, and the non-random variation is due to differences in particular quality of input or faulty equipment or inadequate training of employee, and that's non-random. If your employee is not well trained to do the job, and it causes your quality of product deviated from your standard value, then the cost is the training of the employee. Okay, training of employee is not done properly. That's why in a lot of organizations, they spend a lot of money in training the staff. Okay, when they want to introduce a new product or new services, they train the staff first. Make sure the staff is very well trained. And today, in a lot of countries, in China, in India, in Australia, all this, they spend a lot of money in training. Okay? We want to introduce a new system. If we want to introduce a new administrative process, we send our administration staff go for the courses. Okay? And often that they go for courses to do the training. Okay? To training the new use. If you want to introduce this SAP system, certain module, for example, the financial and cost control module, FICO. Okay, FICO, financial and cost module. Okay, they send the people for training, how to enter the data, how to charge to which particular area, all this. Okay, so this is what training of employee is important. Okay, and the training process will help you to overcome non-random variation. All right. So what is the first step of reducing the variation? Is basically to reduce a non-random variation, okay, by removing its root causes. Okay, what is the real cause to this variation? No quality input, faulty equipment, or inadequate training of employee. Removing that. How to remove that? Inadequate training of employee. Send employee for training. Low quality input. Make sure that you check your supplier's quality. All right. So that is to reduce the non-random variation. All right. Or the equipment, the manufactured equipment is out of calibration, so they produce a non-random variation in your products. So what do you do? Recalibrate or introduce a calibration periodicity. Maybe every 2 months you calibrate the equipment, production equipment. And that's why sometimes you go to the market and these hawkers or whoever seller, they use a weighing machine to weigh your whatever goods that you buy, vegetable, meat, or whatever you buy. The scale could be out because they never calibrate it. All right? And it causes non-random variation into the actual weight. All right? And that means that you may have to pay a certain amount of money for no fault of you, okay? Fault of the people's inaction of certain faulty equipment, all right? So what is the impact of variation? Okay, the impact of variation can cause dispersion, predictability, and centering, all right? These are the three impact, okay, of variation, okay, three important impact. So what are they, okay? Dispersion, magnitude of variation in terms of measure process characteristic, okay? Predictability, do the measure process characterize belong to the same probability distribution over time? Predictability, okay? How your measurement can predict, help you to predict what is going to happen next. That is called predictability. When you say predict something, that means you are going to estimate what is going to happen next based on what's happening now or past, okay? And normally you use the same standard deviation and same means to quantify that, okay? Your predictability. And centering, how well the process mean is aligned with the process target value. And that's what just now I mentioned about target value. You allow the maximum how many standard deviation from the target value. Now, typically, you don't want to, you do not want to allow too much deviation from the target value. Because the too much deviation from the target value, that means that you are not going to get the kind of efficiency you are going to get. Because once you have more than, say, let's say 1.5 standard deviation away, what is left for you is only 6 take away 1.5. If you only allow, say, 0.5 standard deviation, what is left for you is 5.5. And 5.5, what is the efficiency? You can see the table just now we got. All right? So reducing this variation should be predictable and with a low dispersion and well-centered, okay? That is what you are trying to achieve, okay? Your target, all right? So the standard approach for reducing variability is Six Sigma program, as what it is, we say that, okay? Six Sigma are traditional tools for quality and process control analysis, all right? And there is a tool called quality control tools, sometimes it's also known as 7QC tool, okay? To do that, all right? To reduce variation, all right? So in other words, you want to reduce the variation, you can use a Six Sigma tool. But as I said, Six Sigma tool is only efficiency loop improvement, okay? Not necessarily effectiveness loop improvement, all right? With that, we stop 5 minutes for the break, and then before we go into the cycle time and yield, okay? The cycle time is the time that you spend within the process. And you try to reduce it as much as possible. So we will come back at 7:15, okay? 7 minutes break, okay?
try to eliminate those causes for variation, does that in most of the time actually will increase the cost? So how do we know that the cost is balanced by the increase?
If you increase the cost, you increase the revenue, that's not too bad. If you increase the cost without increase in the revenue, that means you are losing your profit.
Yeah, but I mean, one way I try to use the Six Sigma to eliminate the causes for variations, like we buy new equipment or we train our staff.
So you have to see whether the variation is due to random or non-random variation.
Yeah.
But most of the time, the first thing to tackle is non-random variation. That could be due to one particular cause. Cause, C-A-U-S-E. Okay. So when you know that, for example, that everybody always, the production worker always put the thing in the wrong place, or put the thing into the wrong slot and put the insertion wrong, or this, then you got to tell the worker that, hey, you shouldn't do that. Okay. So in order to make sure that they don't do that, you train them.
Yeah.
That's training cost.
Yeah, I know. So, for example, if I know for sure now that my staff is lacking training, so if I train them, I will actually increase the revenue. But if I want to train them, I have to.
No, if you train them, not necessarily you increase the revenue. You will reduce the cost of error, cost of making mistake.
Yeah, but how can those reduce the cost of error will actually balance the cost for training itself?
You have to see that if you train the people in the most efficient way of training, then should be the cost of training should be lower than the cost of error, and you have to make sure that. So you have to say that do a study, do a documentation. Say, if I send 10 people for training and then I spend, let's say, 20,000. And my error costs are usually maybe 25,000. Then your training is worth, you save 5,000. All right. That's why you have to do your calculation. Okay. Yeah. Anything?
I just go to the subject. I didn't want to know, is it like more theory? Because I took the subject in bachelor and it was more on processing, drawing, workflows and those stuff. So how the exam would be? Is it more in theory based or?
You have a theory, you have some practice or this, some calculation, some study of a particular process, how the process analyze cycle time, all these sort of things.
Because I mean, like for the first and second lectures, I'm a bit confused because I don't have that business knowledge. I'm an IT person.
You are what?
An IT, information technology.
Information technology, I'm an IT person.
Yeah.
We deal with the business process. Everything is known as a business process. Business process not necessarily restricted to the business context. It could be any process that you are dealing with. We sometimes call it as a business. Just like you do this thing, mind your own business. Okay. But you are not actually doing business. For example, you talk about certain thing about another person or what. You say, mind your own business. You know what I mean? So the term business process is a generic term. Okay. Not necessarily business in that sense. Okay. It's basically a process of carry out activity or material flow. Okay.
So regarding the random thing, you said that it's a result of many causes. Could you just state an example?
For example, that this random, you have variations of something, and this variation of something is maybe due to something is not right, or this is not right, or people is making error unintentionally, or this.
Like it is related to the environment as well?
It is due to many unknown reasons. That's random. Just I say, this is random.
You are creating problem. Like
Yeah.
anything.
Anything creating problem is random nature. But if you know one particular aspect of the causes to the problem, that is non-random.
Okay, if you don't know the cause, then it's like that.
You can say that it's almost a random process, random variation. Okay, let's go, come back, so that we can finish before 8 o'clock, and then you can go for your tutorial if you need to go for a tutorial class. Tutorial start this week. Those who sign on the tutorial after the lecture should go to tutorial class, okay? Last week, no tutorial, everybody know already, right? This timetabling people send a wrong signal. They say, oh, tutorial is starting in 5 minutes time or what, last week, okay? That is wrong, okay? Because they did not do the process improvement, okay? They never check whether tutorial for this unit is starting week 1 or week 2, all right? Okay, so we now move to the cycle time. And I mentioned the cycle time is the time that you stay inside the process. And you try to reduce the time. As an objective, you try to reduce the time that you stay in the process. Because you stay in the process, it could be you are waiting for something to happen before come to your turn. All right? And you don't want that to happen. Okay? You want to be smooth. Just like if you travel from your house to, let's say, in a city, you may have to change the train. And when you change the train, in between, you have to wait for the next train to come. And if you wait for the next train to come, that means you waste time, right? You waste time, that means that your cycle time is longer. Okay? I'm giving you this kind of example so that it's more clear to you, all right? And U is for per unit of input, how much you want to produce. Okay, how many you, of course, for same unit of input, you would like to produce as much as possible so that you get a better U. Okay, and the term U is always happen in the manufacturing process, apply to the manufacturing process. Okay, for example, I put in production time of 10 hours, I expect to give 20 hours of output or something like that, all right? And the higher the output, that means the higher the yield, okay? But make sure the quality remain no change, okay? You can produce so much thing and in the end, a lot of them are defect. What's the point? You're wasting material, right? So that's the concept of this, okay? So you have to, U is being defined, okay? U is defined as an input material, equipment, utilization, setup time, capacity, all right? And the improvement cycle time, that means that you have to gain, what is the effect of that? Is to gain predictability, reduce the dispersion, and center to the target. And this is basically the variation, reduce the variation, okay? And the tactic of improving cycle time is the same as this EU improvement time, okay? The tactic, same tactic, okay? Two things in the real world, okay? You have to have a strategy. When you have a strategy, you have to follow by the tactic, okay? That's why when you study this military strategy, they always have a situation appreciation. Then you come up with a strategy. After your strategy, then you come up with a tactic. Okay, so tactic followed by the strategy. Okay. So this is a typical Six Sigma efficiency loop. Okay, we try to reduce variation. Okay, you do the improvement of a project. Okay, commitment, reduce cost. Okay, reduce variation, it will reduce cost. Okay, and then after that you increase the profit. Reduce cost, increase the profit if your revenue no change. Okay, if your revenue change, it's a positive change, the increase in the revenue, that's the best. Okay, if your revenue change is in a negative direction, that will not be very good. And that's why I'm saying that in the real world, when you reduce the cost, after a certain limit, you are going to hamper your revenue. You are going to create a negative impact on the revenue. Okay? So be careful about that, all right? So Six Sigma revenue or effectiveness rationale, okay? Determinant of a company is, what are the determinant of company's revenue? Basically, you have a revenue, sales volume, okay? Market share, which is related to market share. Sales volume, that means that if you can sell so much unit within the market, then you occupy a certain market share, all right? And of course, the sales price, what kind of price, okay? Now, bear in mind that a lot of people increasing the sales price. Just like you go to the restaurant and the restaurant keep on charging you more and more. In the end, you don't want to go to that restaurant anymore. Okay, you hamper the revenue for the restaurant. Okay, so price increase has an impact on the sales volume, and that's why you have what you call it, the demand supply curve inside there. Okay, price and the quantity sales, or is the curve in the economic study. All right. So revenue, okay, revenue also contingent on how well the firm can satisfy the external customer desire. Okay, just like what I mentioned about if the restaurant keep on increase the price of the food that they are going to serve you, and in the end you say, yeah, too expensive, I better don't go to that restaurant, right? Okay. But today the restaurateur is very clever in the sense that it's very sneaky. They don't increase the price, they cut the volume. They serve you smaller size, right? I know if you buy certain package of food, you know, instead of 200 grams, now they cut down to 150 grams. They sell you the same price. Okay? That's happening. So that is a tactic. They use a certain tactic to do that. But if you use the kind of tactic too often, in the end, your customer loyalty lose. You lost a customer loyalty. They don't come back to you. Because if there is a substitute product, and the market is full of a lot of substitute product today, okay? No matter what you do, there are certain sort of A good or B good or goods. You know? I happen to be in China. I know that there are good, you know, imitate one, okay? And then Uniqlo, okay? Have you heard about Uniqlo? They are imitate product, you know. Instead of UNIQLO, they go and turn around the thing that UIL or something like that, and then they sell you as a imitate goods, and with a lower price. And then you say, oh, I'm happy I buy Uniqlo with this kind of brand name. You know, actually, it's an imitate product. All right. I'm sure that you all know about it, right? You know what I mean by Uniqlo? It's a kind of brand name products that is very well accepted in Japan, in Asian market, in India, in Australia. You know? If you go to the city, you can see the Uniqlo's outlet there. Okay. Every city they have one. Okay, but they are imitate products of Uniqlo. Okay, so be careful. Make sure you look at the brand. Okay, look at the spelling correctly. Okay. No, I'm not lying. I'm just telling you what's happening. Okay. The firm's ability to generate revenue depends on how well it can satisfy the external customer requirement and desires. Okay, and that is a key point. Okay, customer satisfaction. Okay, and that's why a lot of these the company nowadays, they are very, very interested in knowing that you as a customer, are you happy? Okay, with the services? Are you happy with the product that we sell it to you? With the value you pay? With the price you pay? And in return to get the kind of customer value satisfaction, all right? So the firm's ability to generate revenue depends on how well it can satisfy external customer requirement and desire. Why they use the word external customer? Do you know that everybody is a customer of another body? Within the organization, I am the customer of this eSolution because they have to service me by providing computing facility there. If I'm not happy, and I could put in a customer, I'm not happy with this service, I'm not happy with it. And every now and then they send me a customer satisfaction survey. After you launch a job for repair or whatever, if they finish the job, they send you, okay, can you fill in this survey of the services we provide you according to your request, okay? What do you think about this from 0 to 9 or 1 to 10? But all this survey to me is all manipulated. About few years ago, if you walk into this Commonwealth Bank in university branches, okay, the people will say that, okay, how do you find my service? 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. I say 11 out of 10 if I'm happy about it. Okay? If I'm not happy about it, 0 out of 10. Okay? But today, the people is playing the games. The teller is telling you, give me 9, give me 10, all this. I say, I can give you 11, you will make me happy. So that's why to me, some of the survey, sometimes it's meaningless. You know? What is more important is the customer going to come back again or not. That is the most important thing. If I'm happy, I will come back again. If I'm not happy, then I will go to another branch. Isn't it? Well, anyway, this is my experience anyway. So to me, that I don't quite trust the kind of survey. You know, when you go to the immigration department or immigration checkpoint, when you go to the airport, and then the immigration officer down there, they put on there, smile. Oh, okay. Okay. And then when you go in there, yeah. If the person is very nice to me, then I have you. If the immigration officer is so nasty, check this, check that, of course you will give them, right. That is the thing. Okay, let's move on, okay. So effectiveness is improve the customer satisfaction, lead to increase in market share and a large sales volume as well as the potential to charge higher price. Okay? If you are happy, you go to a restaurant, the service is so good, you tend to give them more tips, right? If I'm not happy, I wouldn't even bother to give you tips, okay? That is one the thing. You know? If you like the food, the service of that restaurant, you're willing to pay maybe $2 more or something like that per plate of food that you ask for, okay? And that is always the case. The customer satisfaction is very important, okay? To me, the customer satisfaction is the most valuable asset a company can gain, okay? So combining the efficiency and effectiveness loops, okay, so that is the combination. So you reduce the cycle time, you reduce this, increase the profit, and then increase the revenue, or this whole thing come out. Just now we have this efficiency loop, okay? What is in the efficiency loop? We don't have this one, right? We don't have that one just now, all right? We say that is Six Sigma efficiency loop. If you go back to the thing that is without this part, okay? Okay, and to increase the effectiveness, you have an effectiveness loop, this one, okay? Customer satisfaction. If customer is satisfied, they will go back to the company or restaurant again to increase the revenue, okay? Okay, and this is the part that helps you to improve the effectiveness. The basic Six Sigma efficiency loop is without this part. In other words, they did not see the customer feedback as important in the earlier process. So today, you understand your market, understand your customer. Okay, it's very important. Okay, and that will help you to improve your effectiveness, as well as hopefully that you implement your Six Sigma with the understanding of customer requirement, better satisfy the customer requirement, you improve the effectiveness as well. Both efficiency and effectiveness. Okay, and that's why you have this another part of a loop here. This is another part of loop. Just now it's only this part, okay? This part, okay? Then if you go back to the earlier slide, okay, you will see that, all right? So essentially, then you come up with this Six Sigma framework, okay, center around this concept, okay. The concept is this, okay. You define, okay. You measure, you analyze, you improve, you control, and that is what you call it as a DMAIC, okay, as a center around a discipline and quantitative-oriented improvement methodology, which is this one. And then you have a top management commitment. Then you need to have a training to the staff to improve the improvement methodology, and inside there you have a define, okay, define your this process. Okay. First, you have a you come up with your process. Okay. Then you define your process. All right. And then after that, you develop a measure, and then you analyze it, then you improve it, and then you exercise control to improve the system. And that involves this inner box here, training measurement system. All right. Then in the largest framework, you have a top management commitment. All right. To training top management commitment to the measurement system. And in that sense, you need to involve a stakeholder. The stakeholder is employee themselves, the company's employee, company's manager, your customer, your supplier, all these are involved. And that is called stakeholder involvement. And today we are talking about stakeholder model. Okay, stakeholder model, maximizing the stakeholder value is what every company is going to achieve through design their business process in such a way that it helps you to improve or maximize the stakeholder value. Okay? You get it? So what are the Six Sigma success factors? Okay? You look at the bottom line, all right? Focus, bottom line focus, big dollars impact, okay? Encourage and maintain a top management commitment. And this is what just now the framework there. So those are the success factors from there. From there framework, you can derive the success factor. And you emphasize on the consistent use of the unified and quantitative approach to process improvement. And that's what DMAX IC, okay? DMAX IC methodology, okay? Provide a common language for that, all right? And in that sense, it creates the awareness that the decision should be based on the factual data. What is happening based on the factual, not what is based on hearsay or not based on what is in the past. Okay? In today, past performance is not necessarily a good predictor for the future performance. And also in the big data domain and big data platform, people are looking at what's happening now. What's happening now tells you that what is going to happen next time. Next time, okay? Not next time, not long ago, okay? Next time only. So everything is a continuous improvement and continuous innovation process, okay? If you are investing in the financial market, stock exchange market, you look at a certain company performance. Okay, let's say one company's performance. 10 years ago, this company making a lot of profit, then the stock price going up, okay. And then you say, okay, since they have been going up last 10 years, then next 10 years will go up again. You are likely to make a big mistake. Okay? You are likely to make a big mistake. What you should look at is what's happening today, okay? The company. Is there a management change? Or is there a business change? Or is there a product chain or whatever? You look at it, is that product chain is going to be a very potential good future market? You can't look at, oh, last 10 years, the company is making a lot of money doing their business in that product. IBM used to make this IBM computer, okay? Today, IBM is no longer a computer manufacturer, not a microcomputer or mini computer or laptop. They don't do this kind of business anymore. IBM is in providing the business solution today, okay? Because the company keep on continually innovate to cope with the changes, okay? E-commerce is likely to be out of business. According to this Jack Ma's forecast, it's going to be out of business in 5 or 10 years' time. It will be replaced by another form of this e-purchase, e-payment, and all these new customers' requirement, new customer behavior, all right? So that is the reason why there's a create awareness decisions should be based on factual data. Look at factual. What is factual? It's a real data. Real data is the data that is happening now, online. Okay, real data, factual data. Okay. Past 2 years, 3 years is historical data. historical data not necessarily will be the repeated of tomorrow's data. But today's data is likely to be repeated to tomorrow's data. Okay? So continue with this Six Sigma success factor, emphasis on understanding and satisfying customer needs. And that is what exactly I mentioned just now, that customer satisfaction is very important for a sustainable future business of your company. Okay. If you want anything sustainable, you have to make sure you do two things. As a career, as you want to develop a career, and when you are young people entering into the career market, make sure you learn three things. Okay. How many of you heard about IQ? How many of you heard about EQ? And how many of you heard about the third things, MQ? What's MQ? What's IQ? IQ, you don't know what's IQ, lah? No, very easy. Yeah. What's EQ? You know what is EQ? Emotional quotient. Okay. Now, what is more important is MQ. MQ will make you sustainable. EQ will make you success. Okay. Your EQ is more important than your IQ. Okay. It will make you to reach a certain position. But if you lack of MQ in your portfolio, you are not likely to be sustainable at that position. Why? MQ stands for morality quotient. If you do things in a funny way, you can do things in 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, not 10 times, 20 times, right? That's why you say that you do the sneaky thing, you can only be successful in some of the time, but not all the time. Okay? But if you have a good morality quotient, that means you believe, I shouldn't do this thing because it is against the moral issue about what? Then you will become a more sustainable person. That's why you see a lot of this, some politicians, okay? They rise very fast, suddenly come down, okay? Why? They did not observe their MQ. And when I gave a talk in Taiwan, I was invited by my student who is a professor now in the university. They invited me to give a talk to the undergraduate. I told them that you must have a 3Q, okay? IQ, EQ, and MQ. Some people ask me, what is MQ? Can you give me an example of MQ? Okay. I told them MQ is something the moral issue, the ethical. When you do things in an ethical manner, okay? You don't do funny things all the time. If you do funny things all the time, you will never be sustainable, okay? And that is exactly happened, all right? So that means that just now I say that 7 R. Right product, right cost, right place, right time, and right model or quality or whatever. And that is related to this MQ, IQ, or EQ, okay? And careful selection of the project and people combined with hands-on training in using the statistical tools in a real project, all right? All these are some of the success factors. I'm sure that you heard about CSF, critical success factor, right? All right. In any business, there are critical success factors. If you don't do this, you don't satisfy those critical success factors, you are not likely to be successful or achieve the result you want to achieve. All right. So critical success factor is one of the things that always analyze a business. Okay. If you want to invest in a business, you analyze what is the critical success factor of that business. Then you realize that, okay, does that company satisfy the critical success factor for that kind of industry or not? If it is, then it's worth invest. If not, then you've got to think about it, okay, carefully. All right. So critical success factor is something that always people look upon as one of those evaluation criteria, okay. So now we look at another next step, okay? We talk about business process improvement. Improve the existing business process, okay? You try to make the process more efficient, more effective. That's what you try to do, all right? But sometimes, if the process itself is so bad that you really can't improve any further, or you can only have a very incremental improvement. So what will be the next step? Redesign the process, re-engineering the process. And that is what we are looking at in the next step, okay? If a company having before they re-engineering the process, they may need a lot of people sitting up there to make a decision, okay? After re-engineering the company, then they may have less people to be involved in making a critical decision. Because some of the people sit up there may be doing nothing, all right? And why they are doing nothing? Because they have been in a process so long enough that they couldn't contribute anymore. All right, and that is happening in a lot of, sometimes the people call it as a dead wood within the organization. I'm sure that you heard about the term called dead wood, okay? Have you heard about 20-80 rules? Okay, 20% of the people is doing 80% of the value creation for the company. Okay, always the case. That's why you go into, even in the university like that, okay, we have maybe 20% is producing a good result for the organization as compared to 80% who produce basically next to nothing. It's always the case, okay? Whether you like it or not, that is always happening in a lot of organizations. The bigger the organization, the more this sort of situation happen. And that's why in a lot of big organizations, they have a lot of bureaucracy, the step. And those bureaucracy, those administrative, is trying to pull you back from achieving results. And that is not what we are talking about in the business process. And if that kind of process happening within the organization, what do you need to do? Re-engineering the process. Redesign and re-engineering. Okay? First, you design it, you plan for it. Next is to make it happen. That is called re-engineering. How to make it happen is a kind of a re-engineering effort. All right, and that is what we're talking about here. Okay, so you have this introduction of re-engineering means what? You don't automate, alleviate. This is Michael Hammer. Michael Hammer is an author in MIT, I think. They wrote an article about re-engineering or this in the Harvard Business Review in the 1990s, and it had been implemented in a lot of companies during the Michael Porter's value chain process. You all heard about the Michael Porter's value chain process? Okay, and it's basically related to this re-engineering work. Okay. So here is some of the story about this BPR, the business process re-engineering success story. Okay, now you look at it. Okay, Ford cut the payable headcount by 75%. Mutual benefit life improved the underwriting efficiency by 40%. Xerox something, but there are many failures also due to the business process re-engineering because the process was not properly re-engineered and re-implemented. Okay, and that's why also failed. Okay. So there are some failure and some success story. Okay, I can leave it to you to look at some of the detail yourself. This is not our main focus. Okay, as long as we know that there are reasons for failure, business process failure, business process re-engineering failure. These are a list of a possible cause of failure. All right. For example, you lack of support from the senior management, poor understanding of the organization and the infrastructure that the organization have. Okay, inability to deliver necessary technology, lack of guidance, motivation, and focus. A lot of companies, they have a policy, but they don't have a proper procedure to let the staff to follow. We have a lot of policy here, but we haven't got enough proper procedure for this. You set a policy, you have to tell the people how to follow the policy by working out the step-by-step procedure. Okay? Just like a traffic light, Okay, the traffic light said that, okay, the policy is that if you rush through the red light, you will get how many points, you will get a penalty, or this, you will get a ticket. But then you have to tell the people, say, okay, in a traffic rule, when you go sit for the traffic license, you say, oh, traffic light is turn red, you should not cross it. And when you see the people passing the pedestrian traffic, you have to give way. But in China, okay, even if a traffic light is red, the car still pass through. Because the people just don't observe. Okay? I don't know about, in Thailand it was the same thing. When I was in Thailand, Bangkok, okay, I was walking straight, hey, the sign of a human being is walking. So I walk across. I saw a car right in front of me. Happened. But in Australia, such thing will not happen, or hardly happen. And if that people is happen, it will be camera capture and being given a ticket. Okay? And the penalty here is much higher than the penalty in Asia country. I know. If you get a ticket rushing through this, in China, fine $200 yen, Chinese yen, divided by 5. It's only $40. Here you get a ticket easily. Now I think it's $300 and 3 points. Okay, so that's a difference. So you have a policy, you should have a procedure to tell the people, better don't do it. When the people walk, you have to give way to the pedestrian. Instead of the pedestrian give way to the car. That is a different mentality, okay? So here are a list about this cause of failure, okay? So you look at it and then you know what the reason for that, all right? So some characteristic of this re-engineering, what is that? Fundamental rethinking and radically redesign of business processes to achieve dramatic, look at that, the word dramatic, improvement. When just now we talk about business process improvement, we never say that it's going to be dramatic, right? Dramatic means quantum jump, okay? So much improvement. But just now when we talk about business process improvement, we say, oh, there's time to reduce this, then they get an improvement this, okay? We never aim for a, and that is what we call a disruptive innovation, all right? So a number of these similar definitions by other authors, re-engineering characteristics, focus on core competence, okay? Core competency, or value-adding business process, okay? A lot of banks, I know a lot of banks in Singapore, they own a lot of property, okay? But their business is not their core business. Owning a lot of this high-rise building property is not the business of banking business, okay? But they spend the money to that because of why? The property increase in value very fast. Then they make a lot of profit, okay, through that kind of, what they call it, appreciation of the property value, okay, appreciate, all right? But this is not their core business. So the government came up with a policy saying, okay, banks should not own any property. So the bank have to unload all the property owning, okay? And in Singapore, that happened, all right? So now the bank cannot own any property other than their own office that they have, the banking office, all right? They cannot own other property. A lot of banks in Singapore own a lot of property in the past, but now no more. If they want to own property, you set up a new company, okay? Set up a different company to own the property, okay? And that is what we say core competency area and then a core business area, all right? And the goal is to achieve dramatic improvement, which is what we were talking about. And this is also other people's definition, okay? And characteristic of re-engineering, okay? So the project that use only marginal improvement and drag out over time are failure from a re-engineering perspective. And that differentiate between the business process improvement and the business process re-engineering. Business process re-engineering is looking for dramatic improvement. Marginal improvement is business process improvement, okay? I have to rush a bit, okay? So re-engineering the relationship, okay? Some of the assumption, the focus of change, the orientation, the role of IT, improvement goals, and the frequency. And right sizing and restructuring, automation, TQM. And re-engineering is the red one, okay? Which are here, okay? Fundamental change in the assumption, okay? Radical change in the focus, okay? Focus of change, radical change. And the orientation, processes, okay? Business process or any other processes, related process, okay? Engineering process, service process, or whatever. The role of IT, important role, okay? And that's what the IT people is studying, the business process, modeling, design, and this, what they call it, simulation, okay? And that is a key role of IT people, okay? Re-engineering. And really you are aiming for re-engineering for a radical improvement of your business process, okay? And okay, dramatic and significant, okay? Improvement goal, okay? Usually one time, okay? But if the re-engineering fail, what will happen? You abandon the re-engineering, maybe you close down the process, maybe you do something else, abandon the process, okay? As compared to that TQM, okay, incremental, continuous improvement, automation also incremental, restructuring usually is incremental, and usually is on time, okay? And right sizing, okay, downsizing, upsizing, all this, yeah, usually incremental, and usually is one time only. That's why I mentioned about a CEO come in who is downsizing, okay? Downsizing is here, okay? Right sizing, yeah, part of it. Okay? So you look at the radical improvement, this is the same chart as what we have seen last week, okay? Same thing, okay? Continuous improvement, incremental improvement, and suddenly you have a radical improvement because you do the re-engineering of your process. When should a process be re-engineered, okay? Because you don't achieve the kind of improvement, okay? You face a lot of this customer becoming increasingly more demand. Okay, if a customer now is demanding that I want a cheap, I want a good quality, I want to have a good cosmetic of the product, everything, then you got to look at the re-engineering of the manufacturing process, whether you can produce a kind. Like in the early day, your mobile phone, you only have a certain color or this, but today the mobile phone can have a different color. Cover, all this re-engineering, because the customer is changing, customers like and dislike, customers' preference for the kind of product, the kind of color is taken into account. All right? And then the competition, okay? If some manufacturer produce a different shape or different kind of thing, then you have to do that. Even now you buy a bottle of this water, you know? Even the bottle itself had a different nice shape or this. Because people like it, all right? Customer like it. And a change of what? Change of technology. Change of technology, change of design, change of flexibility, and you must be able to change fast because the market is changing so fast. And that's what is a big data is bringing a lot of information for you to gauge the customer's preference, the customer behavior. Okay, and that helps you to improve your business process, all right? So when should a process be re-engineered? These are some of the questions, useful questions to ask, okay? Look at some of these questions, okay? Are the customer demanding more for less? As I said, demand more for less. I want to pay same amount of money, but I want to have good color, I want to have shape, I want to give a lot of functionality, I want to have a very flexible, I want to have a nice small packaging or whatever. Okay? Demand more for same money for less. Same money you pay. Okay? Are your competitor providing more for less? Okay? If your competitor is providing a different color scheme, different this, then of course you have to follow. Otherwise you cannot meet the customer requirement. Because someone already spoiled the market in the sense that they come out with something new. You see, I look at a very simple example. Okay? if you have a travel goods, okay, the suitcase, okay, now you got different caster, okay, 4-wheel or 2-wheel. The material is different, okay, the shape is different, the color scheme is different. But in the olden days, it's either black or some other color, 2-3 color. But now it's all fanciful color all over the place. Okay. And you look at what can the hand carry a job through the process much faster than a normal cycle time? Example, 5 times faster. If you can do that, then your normal cycle times need to be modified in the sense that you have re-engineering your process to reduce the cycle time. Okay, I just quickly pick 1 or 2 to explain, the rest you can follow. Okay, are you in danger of becoming unprofitable, your company? Okay, and that's what exactly that I said. Okay, if you reduce the cost so much, you cut away. Now, instead of having 10 service person, you only have 5 or 4. Then the customer come in there, you cannot service them. The customer will be unhappy and walk away. And in future, will never come back. Okay? And that is what we talked about just now. You asked a question about how to make sure the training cost is less than the cost of error or cost of improvement or what. Okay? Or you can you should consider re-engineering if the processes are confusing, arising because due to the organization unit are not well defined. Okay, who is supposed to do what? Person A is supposed to do this part of work, this activity, but the process is so confused that the person A don't know whether I should do it or the other person should do it. And I can tell you that a lot of confusion in the process. Let me give you one example. I have a roof damage on my garage roof. The insurance company sent me, say, okay, you claim the insurance. They will say, the contractor, they employ a few people. One people tell me, oh, you must get a maintenance of a roof maintenance so that there's no roof, and then you've got to sign off this. The other person said, okay, no need. What you need to do is make sure that you repair your roof. And when next time that if the roof, same place is not leaking, then it's okay. If the same place is leaking, then the insurance company will say, ask the contractor to come back to repair the leak. You see, if you get the people to repair the whole thing and then you have to certify all it, they charge you $2,000. But if you get the normal people to repair it and then seal it off and then give you a guarantee of work, the difference is only a few $100s. They only charge you a few $100s. So that is what I mean by process is not well defined. Because one person tells you something and the other person in the same company tells you another thing. And very often this happens. Okay? Very often. Okay? Okay, who should re-engineer it? Screening the criteria. Dysfunction, important, flexibility. Okay? And that is end up with this kind of situation. Okay? I have to rush through because we only have 3-4 minutes. Okay? Dysfunctional many processes are in deepest trouble, okay? Or this inefficient, or important, which processes have the greatest impact on a company's customer. Remember, everything is customer driven in your company, okay? Customer driven, all right? Flexibility, feasibility, which processes are currently most likely to be successfully re-engineered, okay? You got to. If you want to re-engineer a process, you want to make sure that when, after you re-engineer, the process works, okay? Otherwise, there's no point in re-engineer, right? Okay, so which process? Because you may have so many processes need to be re-engineered, but you pick the one which is going to give you the best success. Do it first. And I always tell my students, okay, research students, implement a certain learning process or learning project, okay, so that you have some success. Some small success now is better than aiming for a big success in the future. Okay? Always have a good success first. Okay? And good success usually don't come by the big scale. Okay? Initially come by the smaller scale, and then you slowly develop it up. Okay? Dysfunctional or the broken down process. This is what you can see, okay, some of the symptoms, some of the disease, okay, extensive information exchange, data redundancy, and rekeying. These are the symptoms, okay, happening, okay. And the disease, it could be arbitrary fragmentations of the natural process, okay, and rework and reiteration of the revolutionary and evolutionary. Now, revolutionary means radical change. Evolutionary, slowly changing, okay? And that's why you're in your LTE, long-term evolution, okay? 4G, okay? LTE-A, advanced. LTE start first, 4G, and then 4.5G, okay, later on, okay? Slowly changing, evolutionary, okay? So you recognize the change, two types of change. One is radical change, one is the evolutionary change. I mean, because of these changes, then the subsequent changes happening, okay? Evolutionary. And re-engineering process, radical redesign of this can give you rapid revolution implementation and change. And the revolution change is turn the whole organism on its head, okay? Has a potential to achieve order of magnitude